there is so much crazy, uninformed ignorance going around about Revelation, the last book of the New Testament canon. Some of the worst of this concerns 666, the number of the beast. For as long as I can remember, fundamentalists have been fighting over what that number means, confidently sitting in arrogant pooled ignorance that the beast and his number must mean Jimmy Carter, Pope John Paul II, or Ronald Reagan. I mean George Hubert Walker Bush. I'm sorry, I meant Saddam Hussein. Or rather, Bill Clinton. George W. Bush? Pope Benedict XVI? Barack Hussein Obama? Pope Francis? Hillary Clinton? George Soros? And now Bill Gates, that's who it must be. All of these futurist interpretations are simply wrong. In light of this bogus futurist or end historical interpretation, the book of Revelation gets read as if it is exclusively concerned with events happening at the end of time. Conveniently, this happens to be at the time of the reader. I want you to take a moment to think how ridiculous that is. Since the reader stands on the threshold of the end of all things, and since most of the book of Revelation is about events happening in those last days, then the whole book is rendered meaningless to its first readers and all subsequent readers, except for those living at the end of time. Why would anyone preserve and hand on such a book? But the fundamentalists love to imagine things this way. You know, fundamentalism is to religion what solipsism is to philosophy. It's really a psychological condition. You are the only thing that matters. Fundamentalism isn't really about God or Christ, but the fundamentalists being correct, being right, and being unshakably certain. Okay, so let's talk about 666. Like everything in the book of Revelation, it deals with phenomena in the skies. Stars, whether singular or constellated. Comets. And planets. All of these were seen as living persons by first-century Mediterranean peoples, living sky persons, other than human persons, called spirits. So too Israelites believe this way. So too Jesus group Israelites, like the astral prophet John the Seer. He had visions and wrote them down, describing his altered states of consciousness experiences of sky events and sky journeys he took while in trance. John wrote several separate works. Later on, an anonymous, unknown compiler edited together several different documents from John the Seer. He sandwiched them in the middle of a letter John had written. And the version we have of the book of Revelation is the product of that compiler's editing and redaction. As many non-fundamentalist Christians know, this document called Revelation went through various recontextualizations throughout history. In other words, different people at different times read the book and interpreted it in different ways. None of these recontextualizations were in the minds of John the Seer or his compiler. What many people are not aware of, however, is that before Gnostic Jesus groups and later Latin post-Constantinian churches got a hold of the book of Revelation, according to Bruce Molina and John Pilch, 666 related to the constellation Deltoton, called in Latin Triangulum. The earliest Jesus groups apparently were not really interested in the significance of Rome or its emperors. Revelation is no different. The book is not about Rome or the Roman Empire, and it does not identify Rome as the beast. Indeed, first-century Israelites and all Mediterranean peoples were fascinated by the sky vaults, the skies as they understood them above their heads. John wrote down his visions to allay fear and unease in the Jesus groups with which he was associated. He wrote them down to immunize his fellow astral prophets against lies and deceits. The big bad in the book of Revelation is not the Emperor Nero, but deception. His audience learned through his visions why things turned out the way they did. John conveyed to them cosmic comfort provided by God's certain rule and the ever-loyal and true role of Jesus Messiah, the Polokrator, the one who controls the pole star, who literally cranks the cosmos and controls everything beneath God's throne.